Welcome back, everyone. We're Simply Bitcoin. It is the weekend recap. We break down the news, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the pleb sites. Joining us today, return guest, co-host of Bitcoin Kindergarten, Optimus Fields, and new member to the Simply Bitcoin team, fellow Bitcoiner and pleb, Hans Films. Hans, thank you very much for joining.
Good to be here.
Man, it's great to have you join us on the show. This is awesome. All right, here we go. He knows the drill. We're diving into the numbers, Nico. Let's do it.
Number 10. Brought to you by Nodl. They make some of the best Bitcoin nodes, like the famous Nodl Dojo. It's in red. That means it's faster. It's also made of metal. Very good quality. Remember, guys, if you don't run your own version of Bitcoin Core and the Lightning Network, all in the comfort of your own home, you're trusting someone else's. That's a big no-no for privacy, so get yourself a Nodl Bitcoin node today.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 739,473. The Bitcoin price, 30,015. Chain rewrite days, 763. Total public Lightning capacity, 3,953.76. Moscow time, 3332. Blocks to the halvening, 100,527. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a CoinJoiner collaborative spend. It is not a mixing service. And the unspent capacity for that pool is 4,557.63 BTC. Nico, the numbers.
The numbers. All right, you guys know the drill. It is Sunday. It is the day to make Phil feel uncomfortable because Nico passes on the number segment to Optimus Fields. This will be the third time he hosts a number segment. Let's see how he does. No pressure.
All right. Well, thanks for that setup, Nico. Feeling the pressure a little bit, but that's neither here nor there.
No pressure, though. But some pressure.
No pressure.
Guys, you already know you're stuck with me every Monday with the numbers, and I noticed a trend this week that you plebs loved out there on Twitter. So you guys can tell me whether I'm fudding or we are breaking some good signal over here. So of course it has to do with Coinbase. The plebs love disliking Coinbase, and for good reason. Before I go in, delete Coinbase. We don't even have to go further. But first and foremost, guys, look, I may be fudding Coinbase. I may be reading things into this, but it seems like Coinbase is feeling some pain in the quote-unquote crypto winter. So first and foremost, through the numbers, guys, if you see on the screen, FTX has overtaken Coinbase in its first time ever in May. So, guys, Coinbase has been the freaking exchange for as long as I have been in Bitcoin, and now they're starting to lose that share. And as you can see right here, the discrepancy is in the average dollar value per trade. So FTX is moving money. Coinbase has basically average size of 1K per trade. FTX is 2K. So though Coinbase is still, the market share, a lot of the market share is going to smaller exchanges, and the trend is that the market is consolidating on smaller players. But as you can see, FTX is coming in and making some moves. So, I came over to CoinMarketCap. I got dirty for you guys. I'll go take a shower later. And as you can see, the volume here, FTX is still dominating on the 24-hour volume of Coinbase. And last time I checked, the discrepancy was a little smaller. We're at 100 billion right now. So that's pretty crazy, guys. And just to add on this idea of maybe Coinbase is struggling out there in the crypto winter, Coinbase has resigned employment offers to candidates that they were going to hire. Not looking too good, as well as extending the hiring freeze. So they're not buying new customers. They're not adding people to their company. And they're not the only one, as you can see over here. Gemini Trust did the same thing. So guys, this is definitely something that shitcoiners are dealing with. As Bitcoin companies are growing, shitcoin companies are shrinking. So let me go into this article real quick. Coinbase, they're shrinking for the foreseeable future as they prioritize efforts. And as I go down here, they're losing money, but that's not the main point. What I like is this saying right here where Chief Product Officer says, we are increasing its focus on critical revenue generating products by doubling down on core products. And if you know me on Twitter, I've been advocating that Coinbase, if they really want to go back to the core product, is they definitely emphasize Bitcoin and Bitcoin layered solutions. But that's neither here nor there. I think the main point is that Coinbase is losing freaking users on its app. And now, whether that is just because of the bear market, crypto winter, that could definitely be the case. But it seems like they have been losing retail customers since May 2021. So have we been in a bear market since 2021? I'm not sure. But their high of 3.9 million downloads of Coinbase is way under. I think it was like 75% lower in a year, guys. So is crypto dead? Is Coinbase dead? It's unlikely. But are they struggling? I don't know. It seems like they are struggling to keep their product going through the crypto winter. And this is just a little tidbit. It seems, again, by the numbers, that the Coinbase officials have been selling their $1 billion or have sold $1 billion of their stocks since their IPO. Now, guys, this isn't really a big thing when it comes to firms going public. They always sell, their shares so that they can get some money, some cash flow. But it's interesting to see the names on the list of who have been selling. And right here, one of them is Fred Ursum. So, guys, we've been telling you for a while, you guys are the exit liquidity, so they're selling tops and they're buying the bottoms. So Fred Ursum has been buying millions of dollars of Coinbase stock at the bottom, and it's the third time he's been doing this. So they're packing their bags on the bottom, guys. Now, whether this means that Coinbase is going to go down, probably highly unlikely, but it does mean that they are losing share of the market. And it may be signs to come that Coinbase is no longer going to be the number one shitcoin casino. Maybe FTX is taking that market. Maybe Coinbase can pull something out of their ass and they pivot to Bitcoin. Highly unlikely. So, did Coinbase, or better yet, will Coinbase become the AOL of Bitcoin? We shall see. But it's looking like they're struggling. Anyways, Nico, Phil, Hans, what are your thoughts?
First of all, great job. Round of applause for Optimus. She just keeps getting better and better every week. If you guys want to know how shitty Phil and I were when we first started doing this, take a look at the first episodes. We were absolutely horrendous. Optimus just skipped a whole. He just
got the highlighter. He's changing the screen.
He just went to the last level while Phil and I struggled for a year.
I learned from the best.
So, in terms of Coinbase, so Coinbase made their bet on shitcoins, right? Jack Mallers famously said this in I think it was a Peter McCormack interview or podcast. Coinbase made their bet on shitcoins, right? They made their bet on being this kind of shitcoin casino, on collecting on the fees, to kind of be like this exchange type of function. But I don't really see that as the function of Bitcoin. I see that the function of Bitcoin is building services around Bitcoin. And that is what Cash App, that's what Strike, that's what I'm sure Swan will do in the future, right? And what's interesting about Swan, of course, they sponsor us, but what's interesting about Swan, the reason I like them, is that Corey and them are proving that you could build a successful Bitcoin exchange around the Bitcoin ethos, and you could still make it very big and very successful without the necessity of having to sell shitcoins in the first place, right? Whereas in Coinbase, they doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on this shitcoinery that a lot of it is securities. What do they expect? Do they expect that like every 10 years or so, more shitcoins will flood? What is the reason for them existing? Right, I think Brian Armstrong made a terrible bet, but at the end of the day, he cashed out $262 million, right? And he's a billionaire on paper. So, yeah, again, typical shitcoin. Rug pull, 100%. I think the stock got absolutely hammered. So, yeah, I mean, but what do you expect? Like, what do you expect? They made a bet on shitcoins. I think it's going to hurt them tremendously in the long run. It's in their name, Coinbase, right? I don't think they have a choice but to stay. I think the Lightning Network kills so many of the use cases. And again, you have successful companies that are building solely on Bitcoin that is really breaking that narrative that you need to, in order for you to stay relevant in the industry, you need to be selling all these shitcoins. I think it's a short-term gain for a long-term loss. And examples of that are Swan, Strike, Cash App. Cash App being the most, I guess, because it's connected to Square, being already public, and they're absolutely crushing it. So do you really need to sell these shitcoins to unsuspecting investors, that especially noob investors that are getting in thinking that somehow their shitcoin is equivalent to Bitcoin, and they suffer from the unit bias because they see that Bitcoin's $30,000, they feel like they missed out, and they don't understand that they could buy sats, right? So it's just a bunch of stuff. I think Optimus, you did a great job at breaking it down. Those are my thoughts. Phil, what are your thoughts? And we'll pass it on to Hans.
When a company, when companies IPO, it's not unusual for them, depending on the hype cycle behind it, depending on the timing, it's not unusual for a company to IPO at a much higher price and then slowly drift off. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure that they IPO'd around the time that Bitcoin was leading up to all-time highs, so I'm sure that was no coincidence on their part in terms of when they decided to push through the IPO. But I know those things take some time to go through. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's not unusual for these companies to go through these price cycles. That being said, at the same time, the interesting information that FTX is taking over in terms of, that's not just nothing, right? Coinbase is, let's say, doing an average of 1K. They're doing an average of 2K. They're doing an average of double. So that's really, I mean, that's really not that good. You know, like, that's really not that good for Coinbase. But look, it was funny, that comment about going back to their core business, because their core business really is shitcoining. For the people that were not here in 2017, 2018, when Coinbase when they first blew up, the first thing that they introduced was shitcoin education. Okay, they didn't introduce Bitcoin education. They didn't have people talking about Bitcoin. They had people, what was happening is people were signing up and they were given free shitcoins to do courses, and like, not even really full courses, but like, it's just these stupid, you know, these kind of like stupid stories teaching you about shitcoin use cases. Anyways, it was just complete nonsense and garbage. Look, this is what's great about the free market. If it still exists in some capacity, the free market will determine who is the winner and who is not. And if people do not want Coinbase's product, which I personally suggest they don't use them, I don't, then hey, then they're not gonna make it, and somebody better is gonna come along.
Yep.
Oh,
agreed. I haven't thought about Coinbase in so long. I already forgot that his name is Armstrong, right?
Yeah, Brian Armstrong.
Yeah. In the beginning, he was like, you know, even Coinbase, he was like, Ethereum has got to go away and all these altcoins got to leave, just Bitcoin. And he switched his tune as soon as he found out he could make money off these altcoins. And then he started like a crack dealer, giving the little pellets to everyone of these free coins if you do a test. And man, people got hooked, and they're like, you know, Bitcoin's up here, and they're like, oh, this coin, I can get 80,000 of them. And it's like, dude, you can get 80,000 in a bag of rice. It's still $2. It's worthless. So, you know.
You're muted, Nico.
Yeah, so great observations by Hans. I love the way that he explained it. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're subsidizing, they're really subsidizing their whole, like, a lot of these shitcoins are existing solely because they're on Coinbase. And Coinbase is indirectly attacking Bitcoin by essentially handing these things out and making a lot of these people believe that they're equivalent, right? Now, I'm not a fan of any government solution. I think I agree with Phil. I think the free market needs to do its thing. We saw it do its thing beautifully with Luna, just flush it out. And every single bear market, a flush happens that 95% of these shitcoins will not exist in the next cycle. And that's why we advocate for Bitcoin only. So, yeah, screw you, Brian Armstrong. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily Fail. Brought to you by Swan. Check them out, swanbitcoin.com. That's right. It's the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated savings plans and instant purchases. I'll do it again, Nico. That's right. It is a Bitcoin stacking platform by fellow plebs. Check them out. They're going to have an app soon. The link is down below. All right. We are just going to go across. I don't know what happened this weekend, but it just seems like the NFT world completely cratered. Anyways, not that it wasn't cratering before, but it just kind of slid a little faster down that landslide. Anyways, let's dive into this. Here we go. A tweet from Watcher Guru. Breaking. Bored Ape Yacht Club and other side metaverse Discord servers have been hacked. Millions worth of NFTs reportedly stolen. Oh my gosh. We are so surprised that things went terrible. Okay, so here we go. At NFT Herder, Bay C and other side discords got compromised. Seems because community manager at Boris Wagner got his account breached, which let the scammers execute their phishing attack. Over 145 E was stolen. Proper permissions could prevent this. The fact that your NFTs are susceptible to this type of attack should worry you to begin with. That should already worry anyone to begin with. Anyways, I'm not going to do a big thing into this story. Let's just dive into this tweet here. For anyone interested, here's my May 2022 data on the Discord breaches. That's right, people. If you are doing this and you're going on Discord servers and you're messing around with NFTs, there's a really good possibility that it's not going to end up too well. Anyways, these breaches won't go away anytime soon, so please take proper security measures and stay vigilant.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
It just means you shouldn't be shitcoining, really.
What does that
honestly
mean?
What it means.
Take stronger security. Like, what does that mean? Like, take self-custody? Like, I don't get it. What does that mean?
But see, Nico, some of them do know better. The best way to eliminate breaches is to not use Discord. Really though, we shouldn't have people pretending that this is money. Anyways, that's how I wanted to start. That's how I wanted to start the segment, because now we're going to dive into a story that has to do with NFTs, and it has to do with the future. Looking beyond with NFTs. That's right. Here we go. We're going to look beyond. Beyond the hype. NFTs can lead the way in transforming business experiences.
Ooh.
Yeah, get ready. This is going to be such a pile of crap. I feel like, Hans, is this one of your links?
It looks familiar, yes.
It could be one of your links. It's either yours or Toxicat or Psy. I'm not sure. It's one of you three. But anyways, all right, let's dive into this one. In the emerging decentralized Web3 economy, NFTs will enable creators to connect with and serve clients in brand new ways. Stop me when you understand what I'm talking about. Big brands have already jumped on the non-fungible token bandwagon, including Nike, the National Basketball Association, Pepsi, and even Taco Bell. But are these just for the show, or are these NFTs creating value? Now, I'm pretty sure it's just for the show. Anyways, NFTs, this is one of my favorite lines. NFTs tokenize ideas at the atomistic level, creating rivalry and exclusivity around goods or services. That's right. Now, don't get me wrong. I've never used atomistic in a sentence, as you can hear by me pronouncing it.
Oh, it's actually a word?
It's actually a word. That's right. I have to go look it up. So, of having to do with atoms or atomism, consisting of many separate, often disparate elements pertaining to atoms, relating to atomism. Okay. Okay.
Sounds like
yes.
religion.
This is very interesting stuff. So you see, we're kind of fooling people with a little bit of the bullshit, because really what I just said to you was absolutely nothing. Anyways, I'm going to continue. NFTs, creating rivalry and exclusivity by leveraging smart contracts on the blockchain that deliver NFTs to people's digital wallets when they make a purchase. I want you to think about this. You go make a purchase, and then you get NFTs delivered to your wallet. Now, I'm going to supplant another idea. See if you guys can keep up with me. Okay? I go make a purchase at a store, and I get points on a gift card. I know. It's I sound stupid. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways, I'll continue. I'm sure that the use case gets better. Second, I also believe that organizations can use NFTs to efficiently attract and engage different tiers of customers, which in their own unique way. Whereas traditional marketing involves selling goods and services at a discount, perhaps for a limited duration of time, NFTs allow brands to target specific customers and reward those who want to engage. Perhaps a fashion brand decides to airdrop discount codes or special offerings that are not available anywhere else to NFT holders. Normally, that would be prohibitively expensive to do at scale, but NFTs provide a way. Keep in mind, companies have been marketing to people for years. There are entire marketing companies, and even if you decide to airdrop with your NFTs, you still have to market the NFTs, so you're never getting around the marketing. That's why the shitcoins use the marketing vehicles. Anyways, I don't see a point to this, but I'm gonna continue here. Going to continue with this pain. Think about the types of businesses that are most likely to benefit from NFTs. It is precisely the smaller organizations that do not have as much of a marketing budget to implement large-scale campaigns and discounts that benefit from the reduction in cost that NFTs provide to target consumers and invite them into a community. How do you know that your customers are even using NFTs? Don't you want to know that your customers are actually using the product that you're selling or the service? Anyways, let's continue. Here we go. Now we're enhancing B2B services, business-to-business services. Although it's easy to see how NFTs can enhance the consumer experience, ranging from fashion to content creation, what about businesses that sell services to other businesses? Imagine, for an example, a consultancy where businesses bid over time with different consultants by buying their NFTs. Think of what I just read to you. Why the hell would somebody buy NFTs and bid for a job through the purchase of NFTs? That doesn't make any sense at all. There's already mechanisms for bidding for work. It doesn't need to be a shitcoin. Anyways, then consultant income would vary based on market demand and supply, providing stronger incentives for each person to carry their weight and add value in the process, as well as an opportunity for businesses to hire their preferred top talent. The same could go for an institution of higher education, where faculty produce NFTs of their content and can license it out to businesses as an additional source of revenue, decreasing the need for growing tuition. Such an approach, doesn't Udemy already exist? Anyways, such an approach would also encourage faculty to create content that actually engages with the demand of the marketplace rather than just talking about them. Problems exist within organizations. There is no price. Instead, internal labor markets and organizational decision-making functions through hierarchies, but these are inefficient and there is a wide array of transaction costs. I don't understand how NFTs fixes any of this. Such frictions can be resolved through the use of an internal economic system where tokens are used to facilitate exchange. For example, raising an employee's salary might be a risky bet, but paying them in tokens creates additional skin in the game and incentives to perform, since the tokens can only be redeemed if the employee remains in the organization. This is completely messed up stuff. I believe the secret sauce is the ability for NFTs to create rivalry and exclusivity at the, here we go again, atomistic level around ideas. Now, before we move on, I just want to point out, here's the Google Trends, here's your NFTs, here's the desire of those NFTs, okay, by the overall public. And that's right, it looks like a shitcoin chart. And the reason it looks like a shitcoin chart is because it is, indeed, a shitcoin. Mm-hmm. So, look, I know that article was painful, but it's really scary and important that we understand just how much these people are smoking to create these ridiculous narratives in order to create the idea that there is a demand for this type of added layer of complexity and confusion to problems that are already solved. They're already solved. They already work. NFTs is not 10xing any of this. Anyways, Nico, thoughts before we go to Optimist and Hans?
Yeah, dude. I think that NFTs are the ICOs of this cycle. I think that they won't be around next cycle. I think that they'll come up with something different. And look, what you saw there was they're trying to create a problem. They're trying to create a solution to a problem where the problem's already solved, but they're trying to justify the existence of NFTs in order to fix that problem. Now, look, at the end of the day, we're simply Bitcoin. If you want to buy shitcoins and NFTs because that's what you want to do and you want to explore, so be it. Just the message that we try to get across to you guys every episode, and the reason that we cover these types of things, is to really highlight that they're not stores of value. You're buying something, and that's fine. You want to buy because it's a collector's item to you, and that means something to you. Fine. You want to gamble in hopes of accumulating more Bitcoin. Everyone wants to do that. We suggest you don't, but if you want to, go. So be it. What we advocate for is DCAing into Bitcoin, just dollar cost averaging, low time preference, and what we've seen doing this for quite a while now is that is the surest bet. But again, I know a lot of you are not going to listen to me anyways, but it kind of sucks because what are the art theft movies going to do in the future, right? It's just going to be like a right click save rather than the guy like crawling through the laser beams and it's like going and like getting the statue while before the alarm goes up. Like now the theft of art is just like right click save. It would ruin all those movies. I don't know. Anyways, Optimus Fields.
Well, guys, I just heard a lot of buzzwords. I honestly don't know what the hell that article is saying, but of course, Phil and Nico giving you the sauce because I think I told you guys in the spaces when I was in El Zonte, me and Weineckes hung out with some shitcoiners, and they literally were telling us that they know as NFT shitcoin traders that they need to find the new monkey or JPEG or whatever shitcoin so that they can exit liquidity on you and sell you their bags. They literally told me monkey coins are out, frog coins are in. So it was like they literally know that the new retail noobs are the exit liquidity, and they're actively trying to dump their bags on you guys. And this is just further proof. It's all buzzwords. Jeez, I don't know what the hell NFTs do. So
Dude, it's literally it's a picture, and you own the hash of that picture, and it like assigns false ownership because it's like
much innovation.
Just because you own the hash to something doesn't mean that you own the actual image. But legally too, like a court doesn't respect that you own the hash to something. Like literally, it's just in the crypto sphere where it's like it gives. It's absolutely ridiculous. Again, that's my opinion though. If you feel like buying it, so be it. But you've been warned, anyways. Hans, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Articles like that, it's like in plasma physics where they found that paradoxical phenomenon that can be explained and recognized by the justice of energy field. I mean, what? Just get away with your NFTs. You only buy the hash, and the only kind of hash that's good is not that one. So
It's true.
Drop the sauce. I'm loving the new member of Simply Bitcoin. He's dropping sauce. But anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. This is the artwork for Volume 10. Every volume has different artwork. This is a volume for Volume 2. Very rare. It's almost out. And this is the artwork for Volume 11. It just dropped. Remember, guys, they're scarce. There's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume. So get your prints of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Bitcoin Meme Review, where we review Bitcoin memes. Memes are a very important part of Bitcoin culture, and they help in this narrative trench warfare that we're fighting every single day on the internet. Who knows the difference nowadays? Anyways, this is the legendary Bitcoin Gandalf. Bitcoin is the central bank, the Federal Reserve. I love this template. Look at me. I am the central bank now. Very good.
that's awesome.
Very good. Next one by Bitcoin Gandalf. I have no principles. It's that simple. This is the famous, pointing at all the leaders. I think this is Ronald Reagan. It's all the presidents or whatever. It's a powerful group of people. And you put, Raoul Paul in there. And then I told them that I never owned or recommended owning Luna or any DeFi tokens. Dude, this guy is...
He's nuts.
I can't even say this on the internet. He has no principles. He has no ethics. He told everybody to buy a lot of these shitcoins. And look, it's not only Raw Paul. I would say the majority of YouTube channels do not have your best interest at heart. But they advertise a lot of these shitcoins because it does a lot better in the search results than peddling the boring old Bitcoin, right? The boring old Bitcoin is a lot. It's searched less. People want to get rich quick, right? And that's what sells. That's the sizzle. That's why you hear the talk about NFT so much. That's why you hear crypto. That's why you hear this. But all of these things are not going to exist. And don't take my word for it. Look at the top 10 cryptos on CoinMarketCap for the last 10 years and see how much they change.
There is no second best.
I love that. Okay. Woof! Optimist with the soundboard. Here's Phil Geiger, New York State, bans Bitcoin mining. Fuck Bitcoiners, the lights out. Very good, Phil Geiger from Unchained Capital, buying Bitcoin to become a millionaire. buying Bitcoin before everyone becomes a trillionaire. Ah, this is very good from the Bitcoin company. Shout out Ben the Carman. RD, the legendary RD, when your friend finally sells his shitcoins and becomes a Bitcoin master. I thought I lost you. It's okay, guys. This is why I try to be a little bit more empathetic than the savage shitcoin slayer that is Phil. We've all been there. We've all shitcoined. Yeah. It's part of paying the price of tuition. It's all right. You'll see the light eventually. And you will be here for you when you do. Only you can help prevent rehypothecation, smoking the bear, self-custody your Bitcoin. This is great. For anyone who doesn't know, this is like an ad in the U.S. It's like Smokey the Bear, only you could prevent forest fires. It's just changing for Bitcoin stuff. Very cool. Next one by Labrahodl. Slay shitcoins. It's the famous Arnold Schwarzenegger and the other character in the movie The Predator, and they're both
Apollo Creed,
and they're both huge and buff, and they grab each other's hands in the beginning of the movie, and someone made like an artwork out of it, and on one side Apollo Creed is Coin Icarus, also known as Phil. On the other side is Corey Clipston, who's competing for Phil's spot, because Corey has been slaying the shitcoins as of late. I don't know if he's trying to make a run at Phil. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, for that, I'm going to give you the superior hot sauce. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me. That's just because you haven't tried it yet. We're not sponsored by them, by the way. I just genuinely like this stuff. This is called Crystal Sauce from Louisiana. It's better than Tabasco. It's hot sauce without the spice.
Bruh.
All right, Optimus. F you. What would you give those memes?
All right, guys. Fire memes. Shout out to the BTC Padre one, the Bitcoin Company one, RDs. There was one more. Oh, the Rug Pow one. Have to make a point of contention. The meme.
Are you Canadian?
I am.
I've never heard someone say that.
I'm Poindexter.
I don't even say that. I'm Canadian.
Guys.
That's what they say in the Parliament, bro. Point of contention. And then the guy with the wig is like,
all right, guys.
Nice.
Nico said a room of powerful people, and Rug Pow is there. That's a no-go. Rug Pow is not going to make it. Anyways, guys, fire memes, and I got this special deck by our boy Jimbo Coin.
Jimbo.
And this will help you make your seeds add to your entropy. Very, very sexy deck of cards. I don't think he has any more, but if he does, you should go get one.
Very cool. That's an alternative. What Optimus was showing off is it's a deck of 55 cards, right? Like they are, but it has seed words written on them. And what you do, right? There's many ways to create a seed phrase. What you can cut up the pieces of paper, all the 2,000 words, and just mix it and pull it out of the hat. You could rely on a hardware wallet to do it for you using the random number generator on the device. You could use a deck of cards. You could use dice rolls with the cold card. It has a thing for that. So there's many ways, but the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, you start asking questions and you start to say, how can I trust that seed that hardware wallet made for me is really random? And that's a really good question. So what Bitcoiners tend to do, right, is that they create their own seeds, right, using their own entropy, whether that's mixing up the deck of cards yourself, whether that's rolling the dice yourself, or whether that's literally cutting up those 2,000 plus words, putting it in a hat, mixing it, and picking one at a time, right? So, look, to each their own. You'll get to this point eventually. Phil, what would you give those memes?
That was an amazing explanation, by the way.
Yep.
Anyways, I am going to give it my soon-to-be-packed Triton node. That's right. Took the case off. By Crypto Cloaks.
That case is sexy.
By the way, you can get that on CryptoCloaks.com, and you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 5% off. Anyways, Hans, what would you give those memes?
I like those memes a lot, and I will give it this signed Season 1 Walking Dead 8x10 glass.
Oh,
that sits in my studio.
Wow.
That is sick.
That is awesome. Very, very, very cool. Awesome scores for some awesome memes. Guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree. Let us know down in the comment section. Make sure to join our awesome Telegram group. It's a party in there. The link's down below. And make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms because we do talk shit about central banks like Rumble.com and our personal favorite, BitcoinTV.com. They don't censor there because it's Bitcoin TV. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make some of the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. That's right, it comes in gold. It comes in Peter Schiff colors. But let's say you don't want it in gold because you're not fancy like that. You can also get it in simply Bitcoin colors. In fact, you can get it in any color, any custom color your heart desires, but only on CryptoCloaks.com. You also want a honey badger, like the Bitcoin honey badger, you can also get that. Also on CryptoCloaks.com. Take advantage of the promo code down below to get 5% off. All right, so you guys know the deal. We talk about incentives a whole lot on this show, and something that I've said many, 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 many times in the past, and I'm going to continue to say it, is that incentives are stronger than coercion. And the incentives provided by the Bitcoin network, not just by hodling Bitcoin, but by making any energy around the globe, no matter how isolated it is, potentially profitable now. Because before, let's say you had a very isolated energy sector, like you had a dam in the middle of nowhere, or you had some natural gas in the middle of nowhere. The fact is that transporting energy over a long distance, actually you lose energy in that transportation, right? And storing energy, specifically storing electricity, battery technology isn't so good. And even if you store it in a battery, have you ever noticed if you left your iPhone and you charge it to 100%, and if you just left it there, you check back and it's at 95%, over time that battery loses power. Same with power lines, right? If you transport electricity, the longer distance you transport it, the more energy is lost, right? So there needs to be like this simple medium. That's the world before Bitcoin. After Bitcoin, doesn't matter how isolated your energy is, doesn't matter if it's in the middle of nowhere, now it has value because now it could potentially become sats, right? It could potentially become Bitcoin. This strengthens the Bitcoin network, and at the same time, you get rewarded for your work. Why it's called proof of work. Anyways, check this out. Kenya's largest power provider to offer geothermal energy to Bitcoin miners. This isn't anything new. They've been doing that in Iceland. Iceland is a very small country and has a lot of the hash rate globally. Why? Because there's a lot of geothermal energy over there. It's a volcanic island. I think it's actually sitting on a fault line. Anyways, KenGen, interesting name. It's the Kenya Electricity Generating Company. The leading supplier of electricity in Kenya wants to provide excess thermal power to Bitcoin mining companies. We have the space and the power is near, which helps with stability. You hear that same argument being used in Texas, right? By a lot of the Texas politicians, a lot of the Texas Bitcoin miners. What are they saying? Bitcoin is going to offer stability to the grid. Why is it going to offer stability to the grid? Because if you're using a lot of these renewable energy sources, whether that's solar or winds, which happens to be the favorite ones, right? There's not wind every day of the week, right? This is not going to happen. There's not solar every day of the week, right? So what happens is that Bitcoin miners they're the buyer of last resort, and they have the advantage of being able to be turned on and turned off at the flick of a finger, snap of a finger, right? So again, this is crazy because you're seeing this on another continent, stuff that we've been seeing in Texas, right? And again, no coercion, no central party, no Bitcoin company pushing this. This is the power of Bitcoin's incentives. Miners looking to take advantage of this offering have already approached KenGen to discuss the offer, and some have requested to start with 20 megawatts and upscale later. Considering there are no Bitcoin mining farms currently in Africa, it is reported that those interested in the offering are expected to be mainly from the US or Europe. Currently, over 80% of KenGen's produced power is provided from renewable energy sources like hydro and wind. What was I saying earlier? To geothermal usage. However, KenGen does not openly discuss its excess power capacity. And that's the key here. Because if it wasn't excess power, it would be too expensive for Bitcoin miners, as much as the other side would not want you to believe that. The publication reported Kenjin stated that by offering clean energy, the company hopes to contribute to the reduction of carbon emissions often associated with mining Bitcoin. However, the government of Kenya has taken a completely different approach to Bitcoin and digital currency due to its fear of scams in the broader market. Right? You know how crazy that is, right? The largest power company in Kenya goes behind the back of the Kenyan government because it cannot resist Bitcoin's incentives. You see the same thing in China. Chinese Communist Party, one of the most powerful governments in the world, bans Bitcoin mining, and what? 10 to 20% of Bitcoin hash rate is still located in China. Why? Because of Bitcoin's incentives. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Anyways, previously, the Central Bank of Kenya released a document detailing its desire to research a CBDC. However, the central bank did note that through the success of M-Pesa, a mobile banking service, Kenya's recent experience and innovation may be put at risk if they create a CBDC without good cause. Interesting. So while Kenya is going to potentially benefit from Bitcoin mining, in New York, guess what? That bill that we've been talking about over the past couple weeks, months, just passed. So New York has just voted to have fun staying poor. Following an early morning vote in Albany on Friday, lawmakers in New York passed a bill to ban certain Bitcoin mining operations that run on carbon-based power sources. The measure now heads to the desk of Governor Kathy Hochulk, who could sign it into law or veto it. Industry insiders also tell CNBC it could have a domino effect across the U.S., which is currently at the forefront of the global Bitcoin mining industry, accounting for 38% of the hash rate. I would like that number to go down. I think a concentration of too much hash rate in any single location, any single country, even if it's in the U.S., even if it's Texas, is not a good thing. We want decentralization after all. Now, in terms of the domino effect, that's what they're hoping. And here's not just me saying that, right? You have pressure from the Biden administration. We actually covered this with David Zell, and David Zell is part of the Bitcoin Policy Institute, and they are essentially the lobbying arm of the Bitcoin industry in Washington, D.C. And we actually went over this, so I'm not going to go over it again, but the Biden administration wants to push the same thing that New York State wants to push. Unfortunately for them, though, what have I been saying this entire time? Bitcoin's incentives are stronger than coercion, okay? And look, check this out. I've been on top of this. I even changed my Twitter name to Nico New York Prisoner of War, or Proof of Work, however you want to see it. And I've been talking about this, and it's working. I'll get to why it's working in a sec. I said banning Bitcoin mining forces it underground. The incentives are too powerful to resist, as is being demonstrated in China. New York State thinks they're banning mining. What they're really doing is banning themselves, as in the government of New York, from benefiting from it. Not going to make it. You're not going to stop individuals in New York plugging in ASICs. Okay, that's not going to happen. What are you going to do? Right? How are you going to stop that? If they can't do it in communist China, what makes you think they're going to you're going to be able to do it in New York State, right? But it's working, because this is a DM that I got on Twitter. These people are maniacal. And again, I said, looks like I'm over a target, which I clearly was. I clearly struck a chord with this person. Took the time and energy to write me a DM, said Bitcoin mining will be stopped in the US and there isn't a way around it. Moving your operations to Canada or something if you want to mine. Exactly. I said, no, they will stay right here in this great country. There's absolutely nothing you could do about it. And then he's like, we'll see about that. Look, reality check, okay? Unless you're going to go door to door and check every single one's house and every single one's garage, whether they're running a Bitcoin miner or not, good luck trying to stop Bitcoin mining. If they couldn't do it in communist China, where if you get caught, the minimum sentence is 10 years and a $250,000 fine. You really think, right, that you're going to be able to stomp it out completely in the US? You're not. And this goes back to the thing that I keep saying. Why is that? Because incentives are stronger than coercion. And all governments know how to do is coerce. But they're this is Satoshi's own quote, they're very good at shutting down a central entity. That's what they specialize. They have a monopoly on violence. But a decentralized movement, they haven't been able to. And this doesn't just apply to technology. This applies in warfare too. A bunch of Vietnamese rice farmers kicked the U.S. Army's ass. In Afghanistan, a bunch of goat herders kicked the U.S. Army's ass. Why? Because it was a decentralized movement. There wasn't a central party saying, okay, do this, move that. And that's what governments, not only the U.S., governments in general are good at shutting down. But when you have millions of people, which is what we advocate so strongly for on the show, taking self-custody, hopefully having an ASIC at home, how do you shut that down? You don't. So that Twitter DM, good luck. You're going to spend a lot more energy. You'd benefit a lot more if you just accepted Bitcoin rather than trying to fight it. You try to fight it, you're going to have fun staying poor, like China and New York State and any government or state or country that pushes back on Bitcoin is going to show within the next 10 years. It's clearly going to show the countries and governments that fought Bitcoin the most were the least to benefit from Bitcoin. So good luck to you, because you're definitely going to need it. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the Kenya portion of this is another great example, as you said, of incentives playing out. And how much business is this going to bring to the area? You know, like, again, we're seeing the people that need Bitcoin the most gravitate towards it the most. They even went around the government to go and get these mining operations up and running. So this is absolutely huge. I think that that's fantastic. I think we're going to see more and more instances of it. And I think what's going to happen, right, secondary effects, we're going to start to find out about the prosperity that it starts to bring to the different regions that start to employ mining. So there's that piece that I wanted to say about what's going on in Kenya. For New York State, I mean, who cares, right? Like, these people, and you're absolutely right. New York State is not going to be able to stop all the personal miners. If there's a region, if there's somewhere in New York, right, like upstate New York, somewhere where you can get some type of low energy, if you have access to hydroelectricity somewhere there, what's to stop you from mining, really? It's exactly what you said. They're going to need to go door to door, and that's just not happening here. It really isn't. They had a better chance at doing that in China, and they couldn't stop it. So I just don't see them stopping it in New York. Look, I think we've said this, we've pounded this point in so many times. New York is simply making itself irrelevant in terms of Bitcoin. It's making itself irrelevant in the future infrastructure of Bitcoin, which is really weird and scary of such a big city with supposedly so much clout and so much power. Why would you cut yourself off like this? But again, apparently the incentives on the other side in New York seem to be stronger. I guess coercion in New York is winning.
I have a political answer for that, but I'm gonna hold it in. Okay. Optimist. What are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Well, I just wanted to point one thing out of that article. It said that Kenya had 10,000 megawatts of dormant lying energy, guys. Like, that's so many Bitcoin miners out there. Like, this is what Nico and Phil have been telling you guys, that all this stranded energy around the world, just plugging into the Bitcoin network, is going to make these places start to flourish. So super bullish on Kenya. That is amazing. I can't wait to see even bigger farms go out down there. What'd you say? 20 megawatts is 10,000 S19s or something?
I might get the math wrong, but
that's crazy.
It's around
10,000 megawatts of geothermal energy lies largely dormant in Kenya. Like, that's crazy, guys. And then just think of how much energy is lying dormant in other places of Earth that we haven't tapped into. Like, the amount of flourishing we're going to have is absolutely insane. And then just, on the New York banning Bitcoin, it's like, New York's not going to make it. But further, just to, get like a clarified, the ban or the moratorium is on Bitcoin miners using fossil fuels. So
No, I'm not going to allow you to fucking use their narratives. Okay,
no, I'm not saying that.
No. Okay, because in Norway,
you make it green. That's the whole. That's their push. They're trying to make it green.
It's bullshit. It's a fucking smokescreen.
I agree with you.
It's not about renewable energies, dude. Listen, in Norway, okay, in Norway, 100% of the energy for miners came from renewable energies. You know what the Communist Party of Norway still tried to do? They still tried to make Bitcoin mining illegal. Because it's not about green. It's about deciding what energy you can use and what energy you cannot use. That's what this is about. The green environmental excuse is a smokescreen. And look, this isn't just me just saying this. This isn't speculation. We've done the homework. We've seen the leaked text from European politicians saying we need to attack Bitcoin's price and we need to push Ethereum's proof of stake. Okay? And Norway, which I think is the smoking gun, 100% of Bitcoin mining in Norway uses renewable energies and they still want to ban it. That's the signal. They want to ban this thing not because of environmental reasons. The environment is the lame-ass excuse that they're using to justify banning the most inclusive monetary network that humanity has ever seen before. So I'm not even just like, no, because what you're doing is you're allowing their framing to work. And it's bullshit. We've done the research. We've done the work on this. And Phil, we've been covering this for a year now. Okay? In the beginning, we were skeptical of ourselves. We were like, there's no way this is possible. There's no way this is possible. For over a year, Phil and I have been covering this almost every single day. Okay? It's not about the environment. It's never has been. Okay? This is about controlling you and getting to decide. The elites want to decide what energy you can and what energy you cannot use. Okay? That's what this is about. Right? So yeah, that person that and you want to see how maniacal their supporters are? Look at the DM that I got on Twitter. Someone reached out to me and said, "You can't run a certain computer." And I said, "Yeah, I can." And they're like, "We'll see about that." Do you know how crazy that is? It's not drugs. I'm not creating explosives or guns. I'm not hurting anybody. What if it's my energy? What if I'm the one that owns the oil well, their natural gas? So you're getting to dictate what I can and cannot do? That's what this is about. That's what this is about, right? And you see that with the Davos elites going to those climate summits, man. They take their private jets, their gas-guzzling cars, but no, they tell us deplorables, all us peasants, all us plebs, this is what you can do and this is what you can't do. Like, no, F that. And Bitcoin makes us equal to them, and that's why they hate it. That's what this is about. Don't fall for the environmental smokescreen, because that's what it is. It's bullshit, and we've done the research to prove it. Anyways, sorry.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking blood.
Well, Nico, I'm glad I triggered you, because that's where I was going to. Obviously, I wasn't going to do a Nico Jones rant. I was just going to make the point that what they're trying to do is essentially, control the amount of data centers going out there and making sure that we are not, fighting for our freedom and using energy. It's like what Nico said. It's a ploy for control, and they're literally just trying to control us plugging in data centers. It's absolutely bananas.
Hans, what are your thoughts on this? How do you want to tie it up?
Going back to the incentives real quick. It's like your favorite. There's a concert venue. It's on the shady side of town. It's an hour away, and it always rains. But every time you go, you get front row, you get backstage passes, your favorite band's playing. The incentives are too strong. Everyone's going to come. It's ridiculous that so many people don't see it yet, but they will.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And
great analogy.
Yeah. He's been dropping fire this entire we didn't know what to expect, but Hans has been dropping it.
That's how my brain is, just all the time. So
I like it. I love it. But yeah, I agree. I think, again, I'm going to say it. Incentives are more powerful than coercion. This is why we believe that Bitcoin will win. central bank digital currencies will not be able to match Bitcoin's incentives. Their only hope that governments have left, right, is using the power of their monopoly on violence and the power of coercion. Unfortunately for them, and this is what they will learn over the next 10 years, is that their violence and their coercive measures worked in centralized systems. But decentralized systems, right, will hold their own, right? It's a lot harder to confiscate the wealth of millions of people holding their own private keys in the United States and armed, bless the Second Amendment, than it would be, right, confiscating wealth centralized in banks, right? Whether that's gold, whether that's cash, right? That's what people tend to do. They custody their stuff, which is why we advocate so strongly for self-custodying your Bitcoin. Take your financial sovereignty back. Take your power back into your hands. Stop outsourcing it to banks, right? It's not a good idea. That just makes it easier for the government to confiscate your wealth. And what we've seen over the last 100 years is catastrophic examples of governments getting into pressure or them wanting to go to war. And you know who pays the price? The little guy, the plebs, the deplorables, right? Bitcoin gives us the chance to opt out. Anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. Brought to you by CypherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. Paper is dead. Store your seed in the Cypher wheel or the all-new Cypher grid. They both come with a tamper-resistant wire, and the grid comes with a punch tool. One of the fellow plebs in the Telegram group tagged us, and we just wanted to give everybody a warning. There's going to be a link to this knitter address in the show notes. So it turns out that there's a fake Sparrow Wallet app from the Google Play Store. So be very careful. Make sure that you don't download it. All right. Anyways, the link to this is in the show notes. But we do actually have a software release. We've got Galoy Money version 0.1.151 that was released. It's down below in the show notes. Guys, don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats through Breeze.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, before we go, I'm going to give a very special shout out to our clothing sponsor. Phil and I wear the hoodies every single day. Represent LTD.com. They have Bitcoin merch. They're coming out with Simply Bitcoin merch. Definitely go check them out. Represent LTD.com. Awesome clothes by plebs. Anyways, guys, that was our show. Before we go, so I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome members of Simply Bitcoin. Definitely want to give these plebs a follow. The legendary Optimus Fields, also known as My Living Truth on Twitter. I put his link down below. He's the highly regarded co-host of Bitcoin Kindergarten, and of course, the new member of Simply Bitcoin. He's the official researcher. He helps us with research. He's been helping us with research, to be honest. You know, go give him a follow on Twitter at HansZFilmsZ. Anyways, guys, that was the show. If you enjoyed the show, no, wait, I have an announcement, guys. Phil is traveling this entire week, so I'm gonna be hosting with Optimus. We're gonna make it special. You're not gonna want to miss the episodes. Stay with us. Anyways, guys, that was the show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. If you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective, because it's the best perspective, and the catastrophic fails from the best perspective, the pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin. We'll see you tomorrow, guys, for a brand new episode.
The countries that need it the most will gravitate towards it first. Bitcoin's incentives can't be stopped.